Some kangaroo milk here. I've just got a refill from these guys over here. It's really great. Keeps you nice and dry in the off season, so it's always good to use kangaroo milk when you can. Alright. How'd that come out alright? He's like, WTF, mate. Alright, so we've got some kangaroo milk here. I've just got a refill from these guys over here. It's really great. Keeps you nice and dry in the off season, so it's always good to use kangaroo milk when you can. That's good. Yeah, I love it. Oh yeah. He just like crawls away slowly. Oh, no. Almost. Alright, so we're here at Dermot's 24/7 gym in Geelong, and I'm just going to show you guys around. This is the gym that I work out at, and we'll go through the gym now and we'll have a look. So this is it's actually the largest gym in Australia at the moment with the size. You have we've got all your pin loading machines down here. You've got a cardio theatre. Over here you've got we've got an octagon ring. There's a boxing ring. You've got all your CrossFit section. You got your spin classes up the corner there. So in here is it's a group exercise room. This is where I like to do my posing practice after my workouts. I come in here. There's a big mirror. It's nice and colourful. So sometimes I get my gym buddies to come in here and watch me pose, help me out. Hey, how are you, mate? So this is where it all happens. This is the main weights area. We've got all the free weights up the back there. The machines are here. A little stretch area cardio. So this is where I like to basically me and my two training partners or whoever I'm training with. This is where it all happens. This is where we get it done. So here I am now. I'm 23 years old, and so I've been training since I was 13 and a half, 14. I started off in a very small gym in Anglesea. It was actually like a little shed, and from there I progressed to a surf club gym, which is not much bigger. And then it wasn't until I was 18, 19 that I had a first gym membership at a sort of more commercial gym. It was called Phoenix at the time, and that was in Geelong. And then I got to another gym, Geelong's gym, which I worked at for a few years. And now I've been training at this gym, Dermot's 24/7 gym here, for the past, I think it's the last 2 years I've been here. So since I was about 21, 22. And it's been fantastic. It's the biggest gym that I've trained at. I love it here because I've got so much wide variety of equipment. It's spacious, and you're not lining up for weights and all this equipment. And it's a good atmosphere. It's a real bodybuilder's gym. So it's a really good gym for me to train at and get it all done and make some gains. So yeah.
David Bay here from musculardevelopment.com. We decided we're going to go through an arms workout. Basically rolled through a handful of exercises here. Pretty basic arm workout. Tell us a little bit about, generally speaking, when you're heading in for an arm workout. Is there a particular order of sequence of exercises you like to do, or are you doing the same workout kind of week in and week out and trying to track progress on certain exercises? Are you kind of mixing it up? Tell us a little bit about, like a standard arm day would be for you, and then even from week to week.
Yeah. Okay. So starting out, I guess I used to do the same workouts day in, day out, week in, week out. And as you progress, you need to find ways to, shock the muscle and scare it into new growth. So now I don't think there's any one arm work that's the same as the previous one. So I usually go in there. I start with biceps normally, and I finish off with triceps. Sometimes I'll do a bicep and then a tricep and then a bicep exercise like this. Sometimes I'll do 3 biceps in a row exercises and then end off with 3 tricep exercises. With the reps and the weights, normally I like to go in pretty heavy on the biceps and push, weight around for around 6 to 12 reps, and start on the compound movements. Usually hit up barbell curls. Finish off with move on to preacher curls and finish off with dumbbell concentration curls or isolated incline curls. With the triceps, I'll usually hit some compound lying overhead presses, some close grip bench presses, and I like to finish off with overhead cables, dumbbells, or push downs. So, but yeah, there's no workout now that's really the same as the previous one. I'll do partial reps, I'll do negative reps, I'll do burns. I'll find any sort of way to shock the muscle. So, yeah.
Now for our workout today, like we said, we started off with biceps. What we had kind of discussed when we were going to train arms is that I was like, well, I'll go through your workout, and you were kind of like, well, I'll go through yours. And instead we kind of compromised, went through a little bit of both of our workouts. Generally speaking, I like to start off with my tricep exercises and go to biceps. Like Calum said, he usually does the flip side. So being that we're in his town,
northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere.
We decided to start with biceps. We started off with the straight bar curls. I generally don't go real heavy on straight bar curls, as we had talked about a little bit. Some people have a little bit of problem with their wrists when you're turning it out a little bit. If I go real heavy, it bothers them just a little bit, but not much. Yeah. So started off with just real basic straight bar curl. One of the things that that we were both kind of in agreement is that we were going to pyramid our sets. Start with reps around 12. Work our way up a little bit. I think one of the really important things for anybody. Somebody older like myself, or somebody who's just on the starting end of their career like Calum, is avoiding injury. And you want to train heavy because you want to grow, but at the same time you want to make sure you're not getting hurt. And I think pyramid is a great way to work your way up to a heavier weight. You're not putting all that the tension on the muscle right away until you're good and warmed up. And so a handful of sets. Next, going to alternating dumbbell curls. Again, real basic bicep exercise. You can get a real good squeeze at the top. Until you start going real heavy, then it's hard to concentrate. But generally speaking, we took it. I mean, one of the things that we agreed on completely for biceps was that it's better to use a little bit lighter weight, focus more on the movement. Tell us a little bit about kind of your mindset with the amount of weight that you're using for biceps. I know you said you go heavier, but when we're talking about training biceps, and anytime you do any sort of isolation work or any weightlifting at all, really, heavy becomes a relative word in relation to how good your form is.
Exactly. There's a direct relationship with the amount of weight that you can lift and the amount of reps you can perform. So initially, I used to start off like probably any other young lifter. You want to lift as much weight as you can.
Still pretty young.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, of course, I always wanted to be able to lift the most amount of poundages and handle the heavy weight. But of course, it can come at a cost. And at my age now, I realise I can lift quite heavy weights, but even now I still feel I get sort of sore joints a little bit, and I'm sort of starting to realise that that later down the track it could come at a cost. So now I've sort of changed my mindset a little bit, and trying to be a little bit smarter, and like what you said, David. Perform under stricter technique and form, and really concentrate on the muscle and the pump and squeezing it, and time on attention instead of reefing up as much weight as you can. It's good. I think it's good if you can. Obviously, if you can handle heavy weight under strict form, then by all means, it's go for it. But if you can't lift the weight for strict sets, for at least 6 reps, then you're not doing yourself any favors. You're shortcoming yourself for an injury, and you're missing out on gains. So I think you got to find that balance in between. We're bodybuilders. We're not. I'm not a power lifter. Although power lifters, they benefit from the lifting the heavy weights. If you can combine them all together, then you're going to have a pretty good package in the end, I think. So. Got to find the balance.
Yeah, I mean, you can go into any decent sized gym and you're going to see a big dude using sloppy form, And you might look at it and say, well, he's doing it like that, so it must work. And it's obviously there's logic behind that. But as we stated before, I think that when you're training biceps to avoid injury and to get the best growth, as a bodybuilder, you got to find that good balance. We took it forward. Did some preacher curls on a machine. Personally, with preacher curls, I prefer to do them on a machine. I know a lot of guys who do have bicep injuries have gotten them doing preacher curls. I think when you do a preacher curl with a barbell, you're locking your hand into that position, and there's a lot of tension on the bottom half, being that the back of your elbow is propped up against something. I've never really had an issue with tendons or anything doing a dumbbell preacher curl or doing spider curls or Scott curls. Rest in peace. But if I'm hanging my arm straight down over, it doesn't seem to bother it. With a preacher curl, with a barbell, it does. So again, going back to, we decided to use a machine. I really like the preacher curl machines they have at my gym and here at Dermot's. Awesome machine. We started off, did 2 sets with each arm, decided to switch it up a little bit and do individual. As you guys can see, both of us have dominant arms in certain things. For me, when I'm doing curls, my right arm is a little bit weaker than my left. I can generally perform a few more reps with my left arm. I think you were the flip side. Your right arm was a little bit stronger. Yeah. But we went through and got some really good sets in at the end of our finishing up on these preacher curls. Did some partial reps on the lower end, then on the top end, all the way through, just to really help force as much blood as possible, into the muscle tissue and really burn it out as much as possible. Then we had talked, in the beginning of the workout, you wanted to work a little bit of that, I want to say brachialis, but I know I'm probably going to screw up the term. The brachialis, the outer head of the bicep in the middle. And, we had talked about, being that we were just at the Australian Pro, one of the guys who really stands out is, Evan said, the Pawnee's arms, I think are as big from side to side as they are top to bottom. And, so we wanted to focus on an exercise, so we went into some hammer rope curls.
Yeah, I found that really, really good because I've really been focusing on the peaks and developing more height on my biceps, and I realized that just as important it is for getting the height, you need the width. So doing the hammer curls, the cables, I really quite liked because I know it's going to help develop overall girth around the bicep. Plus, it gives you a thicker, it gives you a bit more thickness in your biceps. It's going to strengthen up your forearms. It's going to help in other ways as well. So it's something that I really should be, I think I'll try and focus a bit more and incorporate into my workouts from now on.
Yeah, and I know a lot of guys try to steer clear of, cable anything through their workouts. I don't mind doing hammer curls on a rope. Any bicep exercise that you're going to do, you can cheat, whether it be swinging back and swinging forward. It's the same with hammer curls. You'll see some guys will just get it out a little bit and get it coming up in the middle. With a rope, with a pulley system, you can heave-ho with your back a little bit, but you can't get that swinging motion that you can get when you're using a dumbbell and pulling it up. So generally speaking, as far as in my experience, I think you get a little bit stricter form with a rope curl. So we did that. Switched up how we finished off a little bit different than what we did. Instead of doing partial reps, did a drop set here. Again, just something different to fatigue the muscle. We did a few forced reps, helped each other, make sure we were getting the most out of our sets. But then doing that drop set for our final bicep exercise, make sure we're really burning the muscle out as much as you can, not leaving anything on the table. The triceps was next. Decided to go and do the close grip presses on a Smith machine. I knew there had to be one exercise. There had to be one arm exercise that we could do, or I might be able to sneak ahead of you. Generally speaking, it's as much shoulders and everything else. But so we decided to do a close grip on a Smith machine. I don't mind a Smith machine. I know a lot of people, think it's kind of an easy way out as opposed to barbell. I find on a Smith machine with certain exercises, sometimes like squats, close grip bench presses, incline bench press, personally, I feel you can focus a little bit more on the movement itself and not balancing the weight. Obviously, for somebody younger starting off, even somebody your age, using barbells and free weights might be might be advantageous. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should still be using the free weights. But I find that if I use a Smith machine, again, I can focus a little bit more on pushing the weight, a little bit less on balancing. This is kind of a meat and potatoes exercise as far as the tricep is concerned. A lot of them are just a straight up and down. So try to do something different where we're pushing some big weight for triceps.
Yeah, I like the Smith machine. It's I've done the close grip with the racks in the squat rack, and that's I find that quite effective as well. But like you said, when you got the Smith machine, you don't have to really focus too much on your core or balancing. You can really focus and isolate on the triceps. You get a good squeeze on it. You can really, I think you can sort of push a little bit more harder with it. So, of course, starting out, I think it's always best to do as much free weight exercises, develop your hand-eye coordination, your balance and all these sort of things. But as you get on, I think it's good to to step into other areas where you can just really focus on solely on your triceps or whatever muscle it is you're training, so that you can, that's the particular part you need to develop, or if it's a lagging point, you really want to isolate it. So, starting out, you do the whole thing. You make sure that everything's getting worked out evenly. If you've got lagging points, and this is one exercise that's really focused on your triceps, that's where it's going to be very beneficial. So, yeah.
I think you can make the most out of anything you're doing. Anybody's, you can go back and forth. You look at your two best Mr. Olympias in the past. I don't want to say best and disrespect Arno, but your biggest over the past 20 years. You look at Dorian Yates and Ronnie Coleman. Dorian, very much a machine guy, known very well for his heavy leg presses, was real big on hammer strength machines. Obviously, he was doing bent over rows with free weights, which, if I remember correctly, is how he actually injured his bicep. But throughout Dorian's career, from what I know of it, it was a lot of machine movements. You get somebody like Ronnie Coleman, obviously a powerlifting background. So, I think you can make the gains that you need to make as long as you're using good form and using a weight you can handle, like we talked about before. Now we're at Dermot's, and one of the best gyms that I've ever trained in. Certainly nothing like that where I'm from in Wisconsin. I've got to go, at least 90 miles south or down to Chicago to get a gym like that.
Big guys. From like 10, 12? Just warm it up. Yeah. I don't like to put too much energy in the movement sets. Get them in a little closer than that? A little bit tighter? Yeah.
Was there something that got you started in weightlifting? Or was it just like, hey, I want to have big muscles, so I'm going to hit the gym?
Yeah, that's a good question, because initially I started off as playing soccer. I played soccer for 8 years, from age 5 till about 13 or whatever it was, 14, 15, up to 16, I think. But it was about when I was 13 and a half or 14, around that age, that I was in, I think I was in year 8, and I still played soccer. And
some birds around here.
I think I was about 14, and my brother actually got me into the gym, and he said, Calum, come down to the gym. I was like, what for? He's like, just come down and help me train. We're just going to go do a workout. I didn't know anything really about it. I just knew that it's trains, and he said, it's going to help you grow your muscles. It's going to, I'll show you what to do. He showed me the barbell bench presses and dumbbell curls, and basically I just followed him around and did everything that he did. And I was, he was my first training partner. Was my older brother. And Alex, he was always bigger and stronger than me. He's 2 years older than me, and I this competitive streak in me says, you got to catch him, you got to catch up to him, you got to beat him. I got to beat him. I got to beat him. 10 more pounds. All right. So, so I was, and from then on, we trained at this little gym, and he showed me the workouts, and eventually, we trained all the way up through to the surf club here, till we were training here still when I was 17 or 18 or whatever it was. And then he decided to join the military, and that was it. So he started focusing training for what he was doing, and it was around, I think it was around. It was actually around when he did join the military that I decided I'm going to go for a bodybuilding competition. You know, a lot of people saying, you know, have you competed? Maybe you should compete. And I thought, well, yeah, I'm going to do a show and see how I go. So I did a local, like the state championships, the teenage championships, and I won the first. Yeah, I won the very first bodybuilding show I did in my division, and from there, it really got me into it. I was really excited, and I decided that this is what I wanted to do, and I wanted to do more shows. So I basically followed on, kept training and developing. Yeah. Good. All right, so I'm going to show you guys now the first gym that I started training at when I was growing up. It's in my hometown in Anglesey. It's called the Anglesey Surf Life Saving Club. So we're going to go check that out right now, okay?